Have you ever wondered what does the word fate means? Not like the word itself, what it means. It's just what does fate, this word, represent? A lot of people think of this word as something unchangeable, something it is already fixed since you were born. So now today we are going to talk about fate and clear all the misunderstandings that a lot of people have towards this mysterious concept. Without further ado, let's go. Fate in Chinese is called Ming. You know, especially as a Chinese person like me, like there are a lot of traditions in Chinese like counting 八字. It's basically the time of your birth. Because Chinese believe that by knowing your 八字, you basically know how your life is going to go. And if you really study seriously, it is true to a certain extent. But a lot of people treat it as final, which is something we are not going to do in this video. And in other cultures, you hear people say life blueprints like all the time, as if there's like a script, an unchanging script that is already bestowed upon us since we were born. So how true is that? And when people say you can change your life, what do they mean in this context? So before we talk about all these, let us just revise. What are we actually? Before we start this journey of our story, a disclaimer. The story I will be sharing above is not true. It is just like a metaphor for us to really know and understand how human consciousness is born and work. So let's go. You probably heard a lot of people say that humans are light beings. So let's start from there. We were born in the light realm. In the light realm, we have nothing. Everything is eternal. We have nothing and everything at the same time. Since we live in such a perfect realm, we started thinking, what is it like to live an imperfect life, experiencing heartbreak, conflict, and finally reconcile with our true nature? So it is this kind of thought that creates a lot of refraction, also can known as point of view, and therefore the soul is born. Our souls are basically a refraction, a point of view of the light being that wants to understand and experience itself. In order to know itself, the light being thought of, we need something to interact with so we can truly explore and really know who we are. And therefore the physical world is created. All this physical world created is also known as universe as we know today. So, as we know, the universe has infinite possibilities. That means every refraction, aka soul, that wants to explore a certain aspect of their existence will go to their respective universe and planets. Different planets and different civilizations has like a different theme for them to find out. And as for humans, as you guessed it, we chose Earth. And if you observe Earth, what is Earth all about? It's about duality. It's about evil and goodness. It's about beauty and ugliness. And you might also notice that in Earth, there are a lot of limitations, be it physical or psychological. And if you're human like me, you probably noticed there are a lot of different ideas, different stuff, like different races in this world. So, by consolidating all these ideas, we can get a quite pretty solid idea of what we are trying to learn here in this planet. Although I cannot speak for all souls, right? But the great idea is this: the souls that are reincarnated in this earth is basically trying to learn how to achieve oneness despite of the environment having a lot of issues and elements of duality like light and darkness, peace and war, stability and chaos, like whatever you name it, in the element of duality. Reach an understanding and reach to a third point of view, which is beyond duality. That is why you hear a lot of people saying, trying to opening the third eye. This is basically what it means. Of course, I don't deny like there's really like an organ called a third eye within us. Yeah, that is true as well, but it is also metaphoric as you open a third point of view, understanding where people come from, reconcile with everything that is different or even same, to achieve oneness and become a role model for other people to look at. With all that being said, what does all these have to do with fate? Actually, it's kind of easy. Since you already know how human souls are created and how we incarnate into a planet that we want to have our experience to, we can know that actually our fate is a blueprint of lessons that we are going to learn in this entire lifetime. Be very careful not to confuse fate with fortune. For fixed fate is not always a bad thing in life. It depends on how you navigate it. How you navigate depends on how you see things, how you relate with things, and how you behave yourself. And all of this forms a flow of fortune that connects the dot within the lessons that will be learned in this life. If you were to name this in Chinese, it is even more distinct. Fate is called Ming, and then fortune is called Yun. Basically, you can understand it like this. From point A to point B, like how you drive, like how fast you drive, how careful you drive, determines whether you can reach the point safely and come out unscathed or not. Basically, that is like the same concept. That is why Buddhism puts such a huge emphasis on the Eightfold Path, because it is the easiest way to so-called change your fortune in your life. With all that said, why are we here on earth in the first place? Because the higher dimensions of us, which is our soul and higher self, wants to learn a theme in this lifetime. For example, for a person is here to learn how to speak for themselves. So in a higher dimension, they might write themselves a blueprint which is full of challenges, a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of, abusive parents, those kind of stuff. So they can face it and eventually overcome it. If they overcome it, they have successfully changed their fortune of their life. If not, they will be miserable all the time because that was supposed to be their assignment, which is to transcend all these obstacles. If the lesson hasn't been learned, the same situation, the old situation, will keep repeating itself again and again until one day that person is aware of this situation and decided to transcend And since the original trajectory has been altered, that means there is more chance for so-called good fortune to happen in our lives. And that's how you get so-called lucky in life. Why our higher dimensions wants to do this? The answer is simple. It's to find yourself. Imagine if you are in like a bright room all the time and you have never known what is darkness, what is limitation. Then will you truly know the light room is being light? And yeah, that is why contrast is the foundation of everything to make sense. If a person never see an evil person before, can they truly recognize and appreciate of how wonderful of their relationship in their life they had, right? And let me be more extreme. If everyone in this world is so-called rich, right? That means there's no poor people in this world. So for poor to make sense, you must have people who are really rich, richer than everybody. Then only poor, the word poor makes sense. Basically, higher dimensions of us wants to know the contrast. That's why we are here, to play a game. To play a game where we pretend we are weak, to pretend we are limited, to pretend we are so-called oppressed, or pretend to play a game that we are poor. So only we can recognize our true nature, which is light, abundant, and eternal. So what's the takeaway for all this? The short answer is just enjoy life. You do whatever you can and stop worrying, because you're here to just play a game. To play a game where you are experiencing everything. I know it is quite hard to do so, and myself as well is sometimes struggling with the so-called mindset. But never mind, I'm here with you as well. And who knows, maybe perhaps we are trying to play a game where we think we are small and we think we are mortal. A game where we worry about our life. So this is the message I want to share to you guys, and to remind myself as well. Stop taking life too seriously. Treat everything as if you are playing a game. Perhaps it's the best way to live this life. So yeah, this is Spirituality for Dummies, the place we master and transform ourselves. So what do you think of this video? Please leave a like, subscribe, and comment, and share this message to the person that you think need this the most. So till next time, bye bye.